What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Barbados Walker. Today, I'm going to be driving along. Well, the video you're watching is me driving along Tom Adams Highway. We're going to be driving from there all the way to Bridgetown. This is a video that I recorded a few days ago, and while I was making this video I realized something that I've been wanting to talk about, but obviously the best way to talk about it is with fellow people living in Barbados, people who understand what it's like to live in Barbados. Because the truth is, if you've ever driven in a Caribbean island, or you've ever been to a Caribbean island, or you understand what it's like to live in a Caribbean island, one thing that is very common, and this is not going to be the case for maybe every single part of the Caribbean, but a general thing you're going to notice is that many of the roads are not as big as you would want them to be. I mean, many times you want the road to be slightly bigger. There are many small roads in the Caribbean that require you to be very skilled and masterful. And over time, you come to understand that, well, this is just how it is in the Caribbean. Occasionally, you're going to see some very nice big highways and expressways. And these things give you a lot of joy when you see them, because in many Caribbean countries, they are not there all the time. I'm particularly grateful for Barbados because, as you can see, we have some nice big roads. We have some very nice highways. We have multiple 2-lane roads, etc., etc. And the driving experience, to be honest with you, is better than some Caribbean islands that I've seen or I've experienced. However, one thing you will realize in Barbados, specifically, and I'm talking specifically about Barbados, is that the drivers will test you. They will test everything. Let me tell you, before you get a driving license in Barbados, you're going to have to take a test, which is the written test, and then you're going to take the driving test. And I'm getting to my point. Just pay attention. You're going to understand why I'm saying all of this. You have to take a written test and then a driving test. This is common with practically every country, right? The written test is to make sure that you learn about the laws of Barbados, the driving laws, the traffic laws, what you should do on the road, what you're expected to do, what you're not expected to do, how to navigate the road, especially in Barbados, where they drive on the left-hand side of the road and not the right-hand side of the road, like some countries like the US or many countries in Africa, for example, and even many countries in Asia. So they drive on the left-hand side of the road in a right-hand drive car. So it's very important that you pay attention, because how you make decisions at T-junctions, how you navigate a roundabout, for example, all those things are going to be slightly different, especially if you're coming from a country that drives on the other hand of the road. So after you take this written test, you are then expected to do a driving test, because if you just know the theory, it doesn't matter if you cannot move the car, right? You know you're supposed to take a left turn, but when you enter into the car, you don't know how to turn the steering to take a left turn, and you end up hitting everything by the side of the road. That is not somebody we want to see on the road. We want somebody who can drive with full knowledge of the laws of Barbados. After the driving test, the government thinks you are ready to be on the road. They issue you a driver's license, and now you are ready to start driving your car. In Barbados, however, that is not where the test ends. The test, my dear brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, members of the public, continues every single day. Now, if you watch this very beautiful video, you will notice that everyone is behaving very normally. As a matter of fact, many of the videos I upload, if not all the videos I upload, are always videos where people are behaving normally in the videos. I rarely, if not never, upload videos where drivers are driving horribly, because I don't want anyone to have their mess ups or some of their worst moments in driving to be publicized all over the internet, and it was probably just a mistake. But if you have driven in Barbados, you will agree with me, many of the drivers will test you. Oh, you think you have a driver's license? No. They will test you. And let me list some of the tests that you're going to get on the road. This is after you have gotten your driver's license. If you're driving, this is a test question I want you to answer. You can answer in the comments. If you're driving on your own lane and an oncoming driver has half his car, his right tire, front wheel and rear wheel, half of his car has crossed over the yellow line and is now directly in your lane, what should you do? A, stay in your lane and hope he gets back to his lane. B, swerve onto the pedestrian side of your lane and start driving on the pedestrian side. C, stop your car right there and wait for him to make a decision. Or D, just start screaming and yelling and blowing your horn. That is one of the tests you're going to get. People are going to drive right in your lane. I had an experience where I was driving behind someone and I don't know what was happening. He was driving extremely slowly. Like, think somebody on a bicycle can overtake this guy. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense. You're on a main road. We expect you to be at a certain speed, right? You shouldn't be crawling in a car. So I was thinking I'm going to overtake this guy and I'm going to just, forget about it. Next minute, this guy starts swerving from left to right. Now, imagine this. I think where we are now, this is called the Errol Barrow Highway. What you're looking at now on your screen is the Errol Barrow Highway. And we are going towards Wildy Triangle. So imagine we're on this road and this red car right in front of me, instead of just staying on the left, he starts swerving from left to right and back to left. Literally, that's what this guy was doing. He was just swerving on left to right. And this wasn't a one-way road. Like on this highway now, everybody on this left-hand side is going in one direction and everybody on the right-hand side is going in another direction. So imagine a road where it's just two lanes. The left-hand side is going and the right-hand side is coming. And he was swerving between going and oncoming traffic, left to right, endangering everybody in front of us who was coming and preventing everybody behind us from overtaking him while he was driving at less than 20 kilometers per hour. Ridiculous. Now, in your driver's test, both the book and the driver and the practical test, nobody will ever ask you, oh, in a case of something like this, what do you do? No, they won't, because they expect that people are reasonable. However, when you start driving in Barbados, you're going to realize that reasonable is something that you can expect only on Sundays, when 90% of the cars are off the roads and in their homes. Sundays, most of the roads, most of the streets are quiet. There are very few drivers, very few stores are open. Everywhere is calm. But you see, Monday to Friday night and some part of Saturday, because most of Saturday is also very quiet. But you see, Monday to Friday specifically, they will test you. I remember when I went to a supermarket and I wanted to park the car. At the parking lot, you have yellow lines that indicate where a car should be parked. A car should be parked between one yellow line and the next, right there in the middle. What do you do when you go to park your car? There is only one spot left. However, the car right next to that spot parked diagonally from his parking spot to your parking spot. Diagonally. Do you, these are the tests you will have to experience every single day in Barbados when you're driving. Do you, also park diagonally like this guy so that both of you fit, thereby both of you breaking the law? Or do you, B, leave your car in the middle of the street, go into the supermarket and ask, who is the owner of car number A12345? Please come and repark your car. You parked horribly. Or do you, C, just give up and then try to find another parking spot? Right? These are some of the things that you're going to experience. Okay, now we are at the Wieldy Triangle. I have walked this place before. If you look at the video where I was walking from here to Sheraton, I was standing right here. On our right hand side, it leads to the American University, the medical school. And if you go straight, it takes you to Bridgetown, but we're not going to be going all the way straight. We will go and we'll turn right because I want to follow the same Arrowbar Highway, which passes through Sky Mall, and then that will take us through Warrens, and we will skip a lot of traffic. And when I was making this video, I came out very, very early. This was around 7 o'clock, and everybody was commuting, right? 7 o'clock on a Monday, everybody's going to school, everybody's going to work, so there's a lot of traffic. Normally, I would come out around like 11 a.m. or so, because around that time many people are already at work and the traffic is much less, or maybe later in the afternoon. If you come out very early in the morning during lunch break or late in the evening, you're going to see a lot of traffic. And yeah, that's it. So I want you guys to tell me, what other tests do you have you experienced in Barbados? Here's another test for you. When you're driving, and this is a whole category of tests, every Bayesian that I've spoken to, or not even Bayesians, even if you're not a Bayesian, even if you just live here, you're a resident here, but more specifically, you drive in Barbados. Everybody I know that I've spoken to that has driven or drives in Barbados will tell you that one of the most frustrating, annoying, rage-baiting thing you can do is drive behind a ZR van. If you drive behind it, if you have the unfortunate luck to drive behind the ZR van, and the ZR van people that are watching these videos, you guys know what you do. You do it intentionally. You do it. I feel like what happens is many of the ZR drivers, they have a very, generally a boring job, right? They just drive, they pick people up, they go drop them, they come back, they pick more people, they drop them. So it's a nice job, but they don't really have fun. So in order to make their job more fun, they try to get as much reaction as they can from other people who are on the road. Because tell me why you're driving behind a ZR and unprovoked, they will just stop. Like, there is no slowdown, there is no indicator, nothing. They will just stop right there in the middle of the road and wait. Then next minute, they move off. there are some times that this has happened to me that I have tried to figure out exactly what is going on. Like many times I say, okay, we're near a bus stop, so they stopped at a bus stop to maybe pick somebody up. No, ladies and gentlemen, there was no bus stop there. I said, okay, maybe there's no bus stop, but there was something on the road and they were just, trying to allow that thing to pass or avoid that thing or something like that. No, ladies and gentlemen, there was nothing on the road. So what is the reason? It could be anything from they are trying to decide. Like I've seen this many times, even when I'm inside the van myself. Sometimes it could be somebody wants to get down and they are trying to decide whether they can let the person down right there or they have to get to the nearest bus stop. It could also be that they saw a friend coming on the other side, and so both of them stopped, the guy on the other lane and them on this lane, both of them stopped and just started talking. And they can talk for 30 seconds or a full minute before they decide to move off. This is not unique to ZRs, by the way. I have seen even private cars. You just stop on the road. Just stop on the road and start discussing, right? Discussing something. And the beautiful thing about Barbados is that I don't know whether it's because this thing is so common or because Bajans are very, very hospitable, friendly, accommodating individuals. But many times you will see two people are talking on the road and they are causing traffic to stand still. And Bajans are just watching the event play out. There's nobody screaming, there's nobody honking and blowing their horns, papa, get out. None of that. They just stay and they just watch it. And sometimes I feel like they're not watching it because they're accommodating or whatever. I mean, that could possibly be it. But I feel like they're just sitting there saying, boy, what has my life come to? Is this what I have to endure every single day? I feel like they're just frustrated. They're just beaten down and they just don't know what to do again. because, like I said, Barbados drivers will test you. They will not just test your skills, they will test your problem solving, your analytical reasoning, your patience. They will test your spiritual development. How close are you with God? They will test everything. See, if you want to become a more patient and, a more patient, a more loving, a more accommodating individual, you don't need to, I mean, you're going to learn all of these things you can take classes, you can read your Bible, you can do, but if you want practical classes on all these things, get a Barbados driver's license and get on the road. Ladies and gentlemen, you are going to experience what it is like to be anybody that drives in Barbados. You see all these cars that are passing. Oh, look at Elena. You see all these cars that are passing on the road. If you take any one of them, just pick anybody at random in a car from Barbados and take them to the United Nations, they will solve all the wars in the world. All the wars, all the violence, because everybody in Barbados has the character to win a Nobel Peace Prize. With the amount of stress, with the amount of decisions you have to make every day, you can get a Nobel Peace Prize. There's something else that happens, and anytime we see it, me and my friends, we just laugh. You know this hazard light? There's two indicators blinking at the same time on a car. The left and the right indicator blinking at the same time. hazard lights. Normally, when do you use it? Right. If you want to indicate that everybody around you should take caution, maybe there is something dangerous ahead and you don't want people to overtake, that's one time you can use it. Maybe your car randomly stopped on the road because of engine failure or something you need to check out quickly. Maybe your car is overheating. You can use a hazard light. It tells everybody something is wrong with this car. I should be careful when I'm driving around it. Maybe you got into an accident and now your car is weirdly parked on the road while you're waiting for the insurance companies to come and have a look and see what's going on. You turn on your hazard lights. In Barbados, ladies and gentlemen, people drive up and just by the side of the road, you're going to see somebody selling coconut water. And they just as you're driving, just imagine I'm driving behind this car. And he will just stop and turn on his hazard lights and start buying coconut water. Just like that. No clearing off the road, no like going somewhere trying to park and allow the normal flow of traffic to continue. No, just turn on hazard light. People just want to stop and pick up someone. So let's say I agree to meet with someone close to this roundabout. Instead of me to find a way to park and wait for the person to come and then pick the person up and then we go where we're going, I'll just stop, turn on my hazard light, and wait for the person to come from wherever, however long it takes. Then the person comes, and then I I turn off the hazard light and continue driving. People use hazard light just to mean, right now I'm doing whatever the hell I want to do, deal with it. and like I said before, in many countries, and as somebody who has also lived in Nigeria for a large part of my life, right? I left Nigeria when I was 18 years old. So for most of my life, I lived in Nigeria before I left. For somebody who has lived in Nigeria, if such a thing happens, you're going to be hearing like shouts, screams. Everybody will be like, you'll be hearing, are you mad? Is something wrong with your head? How can you just park and block the road like that? What's going on? People will be horning. Beep, 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 beep. In many parts of the world, you're also going to see something similar, right? Even in India, in places like Indonesia, nobody is going to take that from you. It's ridiculous. But in Barbados, the people here have achieved a high sense of, again, I don't know this for sure. Like I said before, it could be that or it could be just frustration. But I want to think positively. I feel like the people have achieved a very high sense of peace in their hearts, that when silly things like that happen, they don't immediately get angry or start reacting like that, but instead they just sit still. You know, as the Bible says, be still and know that I am God. These Bajans have learned how to sit still through all these tests. And I think I'm becoming like that too. Because initially when I got my license, one thing I don't want to develop is road rage, because that thing is addictive. The moment you start shouting at people, you keep shouting at people. You never stop shouting at people. So I used to be angry, but I would not shout. I would just do what I call road commentary. I'll say, look at this guy. What kind of driving is this? And I always do it in some false British accent for some reason. What kind of driving is this? Why are people misbehaving on the road? But recently, I was thinking about it and I said, I haven't seen patience do this, or maybe I'm just around very kind and loving people, and maybe I haven't noticed. But I mean, leave a comment below and tell me if you experience or you personally get angry and all of that when things like this happen. or your experiences with driving in Barbados. I would love to hear that. But I was like, I rarely see Bajans do. In fact, I've almost never. I think I've only experienced 2 cases when I was driving with a Bajan and he was very angry. And I noticed the passengers are always extremely angry, but the drivers themselves are usually calm. They just peace and calculated. And I said, but this could be something I could learn. I mean, it's useful. It's not just useful in driving, it's useful in business, because many times you're going to be faced with deals or decisions that you have to make where people are just being plain ridiculous. All right? Maybe you're negotiating a deal or you're trying to set goals and KPIs or whatever, and people are being ridiculous, and you want to get angry, but you know that is going to ultimately sabotage what you're trying to achieve. So you have to keep calm and collected and remain professional. So it's a very good skill to learn. I decided I was going to learn it. And now, if you see me driving, if you watch me real-time driving, it's just a commentary on the societal landscape. That's all I do now. I just report the news as I'm driving. I say, oh, look at this guy. He's in my lane. What kind of driving is that? And that is how I now talk. Sometimes, most times now, I don't even say anything. I just point. Right? If I'm driving and somebody does something, I just point at him. And that's it. That's all I do. Right? I want to get to the level that I call them professional Bajans. I want to get to the level where professional Bajans have gotten to. The level where I'm driving a car, somebody does something extremely ridiculous, and all I can do is just breathe. just breathe. Because not out of frustration, not out of abandonment or hopelessness, but out of a sense of I give myself away. All right. That is my experience with driving in Barbados. One thing I would like to do, however, is learn or get the license for... Did you see that? I think you guys should rewind this video. A bike guy just nearly hit my side mirror and the side mirror of the car next to me and just passed right between us. One thing I would like to do is to get the license of a truck and the license of a bike. For 2 reasons. There are some times that you want to go someplace. At one of these times, like right now, when there's a lot of traffic and you want to just get to where you're going fast enough. And a bike is very good because many times a bike isn't as limited as a car in traffic. You can just navigate through. There are so many places that a bike can fit and a car can't fit. And because of that, you hardly see the bikes get stuck in traffic. So that is one. But I have a completely different reason for wanting a truck license. It's not to get anywhere fast. It's not to get to places where, whatever, in time or something like that. No. The reason I want to get a truck license is very simple. And this comes back to what I was saying about driving. I noticed that when you drive a truck, you feel, I don't know whether it's really how they feel or it's just how I feel they would feel as truck drivers. But I feel like if you drive a truck, you have this sense of confidence in your driving ability. Because many times, if you're in a truck, everybody else is actually driving around you, trying to accommodate you. So you see, when trucks are speeding up, everybody just tries to give them away. This is a truck barreling down the road. I don't want to be in the middle of that. And they just give it way. And when trucks are slow, well, you just have to be slow behind them because it's more technical to overtake a truck, especially if the road is a small road, not like a highway or something. It's more technical. And so the truck, there is this mindset around the truck that makes it look like the truck is the king of the road. Like it sets its own rules and it makes its own traffic and all of that. And interestingly, I feel like this makes it significantly less challenging or less difficult for the truck drivers, which makes them appear to be more calm and confident and happy people. Because when you see the average driver in Barbados get down from a car, right, they're usually quite stoic and serious, and their face is just straight. And I understand because they have been through a lot, right? They've been through the battlefield of driving in Barbados and getting tested. They have to prove to themselves every single time, every day, that they deserve the license that the government gave them. They have to prove it every day. But when you see truck drivers get down from their car, they have a pep in their step. They're extroverted, outgoing, they're enthusiastic. Why? Because everybody was avoiding them on the road. And so they didn't have to deal with ridiculous driving at all. Not once. Nobody looks at a truck coming and says, let me put half of my car in the truck's lane. No, nobody does that. Everybody gives a truck a lane and a half to make their decisions, right? So the truck has all this driving space. Nobody's being ridiculous. Nobody's honking at the truck. Nothing is happening. The driving is a smooth experience. It's kind of like when you're learning how to drive in Barbados and they give you before I continue, we just passed Warren's right now. So all of that roundabout, that area where there were a lot of cars, that was Warren's and we just passed it. If again you want to know what that looks like, you can just rewind the video and go watch it. That was Warren's. Okay, so now we are heading towards, we're going to go towards UE, the UE campus, and then from there we'll go to Bridgetown. So that is where we're headed towards now. So like I was saying, I feel like the experience with driving a truck is like when you first get your learner's permit. So after you take the written test and you pass the written test, so you know the laws and you know what is expected of you when driving, you're going to get a learner's permit, right? And the learner's permit is going to say, well, essentially what it is that this guy can start driving with a driving instructor so that he can learn how to drive and take the permit. And then anytime you're driving with your instructor, there's going to be a big red L at the back of the car and at the front of the car. What this does is that it signals to everyone that the person that is controlling this vehicle is a learner, which means two things. One, if you scare them, they are likely to do crazy things at the wheel, right? Because if you honk or you try to overtake them suddenly or something like that, they may get scared and do stuff. And the second thing is that, well, you just don't want to be the guy that is making another person's life difficult. And so most people will just be around learners, like giving them a lot of space, not making things too stressful around them. And so when you're a learner, you don't get the real driving experience in Barbados because everybody's treating you like an egg. You finish driving, and even though to you think it was difficult, you never really experience other drivers. Like learners don't know that drivers can be ridiculous, like drivers can test you. And so the first day you get your driver's license, the real test begins. Right? you have been pampered the whole time you had a learner's permit. You didn't really drive in Barbados because Barbados drivers were avoiding you. They were protecting you. They were treating you like an egg. And then you got your license, and now nobody cares. Everybody thinks you're an experienced driver, and they just drive how they want to drive, how they've always been driving, right? That is what happens. But for the truck drivers, I think that learner experience continues. Because first, when you were learning, they were treating you like an egg because you were a learner. Now that you have your driver's license and they have removed the big L from your car, they're still treating you like an egg because they don't want you to crush their car. They don't. If a truck hits a car, the car is getting the bad end of the stick. So you still get that pampered, cushioned experience. And I feel like having a truck license, for me at least, I can drive it like 3 days a week and drive the normal car the remaining 4 days of the week, because those 3 days will be my decompressing days, the days where I just want to be a prince on the road and have everyone avoid me and not stress me. And I'll just have that wonderful truck life experience. No stress, nobody taking up half my lane, nobody cutting me off, none of that happens to trucks. No, I mean, there are some daredevils that try to show that I'm the boss of the road, not because you're driving a truck, you're going to... No. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are the kind of person that wants to show a truck you're a daredevil, be very careful, because chances are the truck will show you that it is actually the devil and you're daring it with something that it may very well consider doing. So don't do it. But this is my take on driving in Barbados. If you want to know how to get your driver's license in Barbados, it's very simple. You can Google it, or you can get my program, the Barbados Relocation Program. It covers everything you need to know about relocating to Barbados. Everything from where to live, how to choose a place to live, especially for someone who is coming as a foreigner. There are some scams that I fell into. One of them was over $6,000 scam in Barbados. And I talk about all of that in the program and how to avoid it. And these are I should talk about the scam. One of these days, I'm going to tell you guys a very crazy story about a $6,000 scam that happened to me in Barbados. And that experience, it changed my perception completely about doing business in Barbados. Doing business in Barbados is something that people should write a textbook about it and tell you the things to expect. I would read that textbook. I would pay good money to have a textbook like that written so that I get a general understanding about how people navigate it. But the program covers everything: where to live, how to buy stuff, where to get cheap stuff, how to navigate the transportation system, especially the ZRs and the government buses. And the whole number system is different in many countries. I write everything that I learned in the first few years that I got here. And it's a video program, actually. And you can get it on barbadoswalker.com. Just go over there, get the program, and you're going to love it. Definitely going to love it. So now we're heading towards Bridgetown, and this whole side, there is something that they want to build. I don't know, we haven't gotten to the place yet, but it's close to the roundabout. I don't know whether they're planning to build a new hotel, or maybe they're just planning to build residential houses around there, or maybe it's going to be like a resort or some kind of complex that will have multiple shops or something like that. But it's going to be a very interesting thing to look at. And this is one of the few roads in Barbados that is actually a hill. Many parts of Barbados appear flat, although if you look at the general landscape of Barbados, you're going to notice that there are houses on hills and there will be deep valleys. Like when you're driving from Sky Mall, right? When you're driving from Wildy, actually, going to Sky Mall on that road, the Aerobar Highway, you're going to notice that around that Sky Mall place, it goes down, and then all the way at St. George Park, it starts going up again. So there are hills, but when you're standing in those places, it actually looks like it's a flat ground. This is one of the places, and I think St. George is another place like that. And there are some places, like isolated incidents, where you will see that the road actually goes steep up, right? And this is a different experience from some Caribbean islands. Some Caribbean islands, you'll notice that almost every road, it feels like you're climbing a hill or a mountain of some sort. There was one experience I had in St. Vincent, actually, where the road looked like it was going vertically upwards, like as if you're literally climbing a ladder to go up. That is how it looked like. And that is not my experience with Barbados. Like you see here, this area looks flat, even though generally from UWI campus to Bridgetown is downhill, but you don't really notice it, that the entire road is going downhill, because the hills are very gradual. The slopes are not that steep. Okay? So on your left-hand side, if you go on the left-hand side now, that leads to Black Rock. And it keeps going until Bridgetown. This is the area that I'm talking about. Here, we have this, they use this thing to cover the back. And I don't know whether they are doing some kind of construction, whether there's going to be like a hotel behind it, or like a complex with restaurants and shops or something like that. Or maybe it's just going to be residential area and they'll start selling, the land, and people can buy houses or something like that. If you know what exactly is going on here, please comment and educate all of us. Everybody is going to learn something from your comment. Thank you very much in advance. Okay, so this road, I should find out the name of this road. I think I know it. Let me Google. So for those of you watching this right now, please, I'm not actively driving and Googling. The driving happened before and now I'm recording a voiceover over the driving video. And I'm telling you what is going on. And that is how I am able to Google. Somebody saying, boy, he Googling, he texting and driving. No, I'm not Googling and texting and driving. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on Spring Garden Highway. The road I was talking about that leads to Black Rock, it's called Black Rock Main Road. I think that is very straightforward. But what we're on right now is called the Spring Garden Highway. I don't know why it is called the Spring Garden Highway. Somebody who was actually born in Barbados, please comment below and tell me why it's called the Spring Garden Highway. Is there something here that is a spring? Or is there a garden named Spring? Let me know, please. And as we go down, one of the interesting tourist attractions here is actually the Rihanna Drive. It's called the Rihanna Drive, and then there's the Rihanna Drive Monument at the end of the road, Rihanna Drive, because it has a house where she grew up in, right? And if you go to the house right now, it's painted with the Barbados colors, the blue and yellow, and then at the end you see the Rihanna monument, and it talks about Rihanna and stuff like that. So that is one tourist place that you can come here and see. Very nice. To get to this place, you can take a bus to Bridgetown, and then from Bridgetown you can actually walk to the Rihanna monument. But if you think it's too far, then maybe you can try to get another bus that takes you a little bit closer. But I personally would walk, because you get to experience the entire Bridgetown. Like, many times when tourists come to Barbados or visitors come to Barbados, they go to Bridgetown and they just go to the places they found on Google, like on the reviews, on the TripAdvisor stuff, and they don't see any other part of Bridgetown. But if you walk around, especially if you walk trying to get from one point to another, you're going to notice a lot of things. You're going to pass through a lot of interesting places, right? If you just take a taxi from Bridgetown to Rihanna Drive, then that's all you're going to see. You're going to see the taxi stand, and you're going to see Rihanna Drive, and that's it. And then you take another taxi from Rihanna Drive back home. But if you go and you stop at Bridgetown and you walk to Rihanna Drive, you're going to experience a lot of things. You will come out of the hustle and bustle, and you start seeing what locals experience, and then you talk with people and you interact and you learn more about the country. You don't just learn the tourist nice sounding things, but you learn about Bajans. This is one of the ways that you can integrate in Barbados, especially if you plan to live here for a long time. You don't want to be here for so long and still be sounding touristy, and that is one of the ways where that's one of the reasons that you can be taken advantage of. If you're isolated and some bad actors feel like, well, no matter what we say, no matter what we do, this guy doesn't know anything either way, they now try to take advantage of you, right? So as much as you can, especially if you're going to stay here, if you're staying here for just 2 weeks, fine, do whatever you want. But if you feel like you're going to stay here for longer than 6 months, I absolutely recommend that you should, from day one, start learning about the country, start integrating yourself, and you're going to enjoy it a whole lot better, right? A whole English, brothers and sisters. After you speak a language for a while, let me tell you something about languages. If you speak a language for a long time, you're going to notice certain things about the language, especially if you're in a community that modified the language and has a new national official modification of the language. Like in Barbados, there is something called Bajan, which is English, but it's not. It's Bajan. And I know it's not because I've seen someone speak both of them side by side. You speak in English to foreigners, because he was talking to me, and I wasn't born in Barbados. And then he stopped talking to me. This was my landlord. He stopped talking to me. Perfect English. I could understand everything he was saying. He stopped talking to me and started talking to the real estate agent that brought me to his house. And the language switched. I could hear things. Guys, I could hear things in the language, but the remaining things were not English. And it's not just because of accents, because one very interesting thing about me is that for me to fully understand somebody, usually I will have to remember what they said in their accent and try to repeat it in their accent, and then the memory sticks. For example, when I was going to med school, right? My anatomy lecturer was Indian, and I learned a couple of things. V's are usually W's and W's are usually V's, and that was one of the first things I learned because it was very difficult for me to understand, because first lecture that I attended, anatomy lecture, it was rainy and rain was getting into our classroom, and the teacher just said, "Close the windows." And I was like, what is a window? And then I realized, oh, it's a window. It's a window, but it's a window. And then I noticed it in other things. She said, arteries and veins. I said, arteries and veins? Arteries and ways, like a pathway? Is that it? And then I realized, no, it's not arteries and ways. It's arteries and veins. Arteries and veins. So over time, my entire anatomy memory became in Indian accent, or my understanding of the Indian accent. So if you ask me anything in anatomy now, I remember it in Indian accent. So I remember the brachial plexus. I don't remember the brachial plexus. No. It's the brachial plexus, and it's the cranium, and it's the arteries and the veins. You get it now? That's how the entire anatomy knowledge is in my head, like that, right? So I had the same thing when I was in St. Vincent and I was interacting with locals, because when we were talking about general things about St. Vincent, they would speak in a sort of Creole kind of language of English with an accent. And my knowledge of some parts of St. Vincent are installed in that language. So when I came to Barbados, the same thing started happening. One of the first experience, and I will make an entire video talking about accents in Barbados. Very, very interesting. One of the first things I heard in Barbados was, me and a friend, we came and we were trying to see, when you first get to a country, you try to see all the things that you saw on Google about the country that are supposed to be great and whatever. And then when you get that out of your system, then you start living in the country properly. So when we first came, we said, oh, Bridgetown is great. Let's see Bridgetown. We went to Bridgetown. Oh, let's see this beach. We went to the beach, blah, blah, blah. So there was a time we saw that, okay, we need to get to Sheraton. Sheraton is a very big mall. It's nice. It's great. It's fantastic. We need to see Sheraton. The instruction says, get to Bridgetown, and then from Bridgetown, you can get to Sheraton. So we are thinking we'll get to Bridgetown, and then we'll just find a bus that says, going to Sheraton, and we'll enter that bus, and it will take us to Sheraton. Except when we landed in Bridgetown, we did not land close to any bus stop where anybody was picking people from Sheraton. We landed very far away from any reasonable bus stop, right? So we actually had to go all the way to the other side of Bridgetown and then find a number 10 bus and try to use that to get to Sheraton. But we didn't know any of that when we first came. So we were looking around and everybody was very busy, and I was thinking, who am I going to ask? And then I turned right and I saw a police officer. And I was like, oh, perfect. A police officer is here to help people. If you ask a police officer, you get help. I mean, that's literally their job, right? Help people, protect people, all of that. So I walked up to him and I said, good morning. I would like to get to Sheraton. Do you know how I can get there? Very simple, straightforward. No big words, no hidden meanings. Very straightforward. I expected him to say, this is my silly expectation. I expected him to say, oh, all you have to do is go over to that bus stop, find a number 10 bus, and go to Silver Hill. But for some unknown reason, and I have a suspicion, I feel like he thought I was Bayesian. Something about the way I presented myself, or maybe because I changed my accent a little bit. I don't know what happened. But something about our interaction gave this police officer the impression that I was Bayesian. And so he started rapping. I can't tell you what he said. I just know it sounded something like, all you gotta do is you're gonna go to Bridgetown. I was like, dude, I can't understand. In my head, everything was just jumbled up. The only thing I heard was, what you gotta do is, and that's it. Everything else was messed up. You gotta go to Cyril Hill. I said, what? He said, Cyril Hill. I said, Cyril Hill? Cyril Hill? What's that? He said, yeah, Cyril Hill. I said, Cyril Hill? What is? I find Cyril Hill. He said, oh, it's Cyril Hill. I said, sorry, I don't understand what you're saying. Please, can you say it slower? Thank you. And then he just said, you Bayesian? I said, no, please. Then he said, oh, just get number 10. And in my mind, I was like, wait. So you can speak English? You can speak English, but because you thought I was Bayesian, you decided to speak a different language that only God knows. And Bayesians, only God and Bayesians can understand what Bayesians say when they're talking to each other. I kid you not. And then, after all of that, we went and found number 10. The bus had a number 10 on it. And when I looked at the bus, I noticed something. On the bus was written, Silver Hills. Ladies and gentlemen, what this guy was saying in the middle of all that conversation with Silver Hills was Silver Hills. He wanted to say Silver Hills, and it came out as Silver Hills in Bayesian. So, when you know a language like English and you know a different language which also incorporates 90% of English, right? This is common. In Nigeria, we have Pidgin, or we call it broken English sometimes. There are many countries with Creole versions of English, like Jamaica speaks something, but it's 90% or 80% English, but it's patois. It's not exactly English, but it's something. Barbados speaks English, proper, as they say, Queen's English, but they also speak Bayesian, which is like 90% English with an accent that requires CIA level decryption. When you speak those kind of languages, they seem to mix. And if you're not very careful, you can mix them in the wrong context, making it extremely difficult for other people to understand. But that is part of the beauty of languages. That is why I love languages and accents. And that is why I personally speak 4 languages and have God knows how many accents because of the default brain software that I have that installs people's accents with the information they're giving me, right? For example, when I stayed in Barbados for like longer time, I wanted to go to Qatar's, right? To get a shovel. I think it was a shovel, or I can't remember what it was. And the guy said, what you gotta do is you gotta go to Qatar's. What you gotta do is you gotta go Qatar's. And I completely understood it. What you've got to do is you've got to go to Qatar's. And that was the first time. That was the first time I understood what a Bayesian said in Bayesian, in the accent, in the Bayesian accent. And he didn't need to dumb it down for my foreign brain to understand. And since then, my brain has been picking up on some things. One of these days, I'm going to give you a full lesson on Bayesian accents and everything. So this is going to be the end of the video. I've reached my parking lot. This is the government parking lot, and for those of you who don't know, it's about $1 Bayesian dollar per hour and stuff like that. So you can come and park here, and you can walk all around Bridgetown and come back here. And very nice. So leave a comment in the description below. I would like to hear everything that you guys think about this video, and I'm planning to do daily videos from today. So if you would like that, let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the future. Bye bye.